What makes me excited about Ticketry as a company is you saw a need in an industry, and that's exactly what Cage Titans was. When I was a fighter, I saw that the experiences weren't great for fighters, and they really weren't great for fans as well. And similar to you guys in the ticket industry, so to be partnering with another Plymouth company, which is near and dear to my heart, being in Plymouth, which is our home for Cage Titans, it just made sense that you saw what we saw. Give the fans a better experience. Just buying the ticket doesn't end there. There's collectibles and merchandise and perks and all the things that you're going to give them this amazing experience. And that's what really excites me. And it just so happens you guys are here in Plymouth, which we love. We love Plymouth, America's hometown. Tickets for Cage Titans 69 are on sale now. So don't wait. These tickets will go fast. 2025, let's go.
Let's go, baby! Let's hear it for Shameless Don Shadis!
It's Tom Pagliarulo, who will be looking to claim the Cage Titans featherweight strap.
Do know me, know I'm like a fan favorite just because I'm never in a boring fight, man. I'm not gonna just like fight to win. Like I'm always actually gonna bring it. So they're in for a treat.
In there isn't to just fucking get in. I want to make someone quit. I want someone to scream uncle. I want someone to fucking say stop.
I think on the regional scene, I've slowly progressed in the level of fights I'm taking. I've been in wars. I think I'm ready for it.
Let's hear it for Shameless Don Shadis!
It's Tom Pagliarulo, who will be looking to claim the Cage Titans featherweight strap.
Do know me, know I'm like a fan favorite just because I'm never in a boring fight, man. I'm not gonna just like fight to win. Like I'm always actually gonna bring it. So they're in for a treat.
In there isn't to just fucking get in. I want to make someone quit. I want someone to scream uncle. I want someone to fucking say stop.
I think on the regional scene, I've slowly progressed in the level of fights I'm taking. I've been in wars. I think I'm ready for it.
There we are.
Interesting. All right. Well, social media, it's not my room, so what do I know? But here we are. We're live. It's Fight Week. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
How we doing,
Mike?
Oh yeah, there it is. Hi. It's cold. I'm double jacketed up right now because
I'm rocking the shorts like always.
You're a madman. No. I'm about to go move down to Florida.
Don't be a baby. It's only a couple days.
It's only a couple days. We'll be all right. But by fight weekend, it'll be a nice warm 28. So stoked.
Well, and it's a great plug for an opportunity if you guys have tickets for this weekend. There's only, I think, less than 40 hall passes. So if you don't want to get stuck outside in the cold, you want to skip the line and get in an hour early before everybody else, head on over to CageTitansFC.com. Click ticket link, which will bring you to Ticketry, and get yourself a hall pass. And just to be clear, you have to have a hall pass in conjunction with a regular ticket, because I got a couple people, because the show's sold out.
Yep.
And there are only hall passes available online. So a couple people like, I bought a hall pass. Does that get me in? It's like, no, you need a ticket with the hall pass. That's just the early entry. So there you go.
No, hall pass not for sale. Ticket sale, hall pass bonus.
Yes, exactly. Tyrone said it's snowing in Florida. I don't know how true that is, Tyrone. There's no way is it really snowing in Florida?
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be considered snow from where we come from. If it's snowing in Florida, it's probably got like a dusting and it'll be gone when the next day arrives. We're stuck with this shit till March.
And Long Drink is fire.
It is. I must agree. It's Coors Light. How I've loved you
like
so.
It tastes like a Fresca.
Yeah, I don't drink Sprite or anything, but this is close and it's not soda, so it's good.
They have a cranberry version. They have a light version, and they also have an extra version, which is like an 8%. I think that's 5, and then they have like a lower one.
Hey, whatever.
It's great.
It's delicious.
Anyways, they don't want to
so
talk
good.
about the Long Drink.
No, it's
not a
Fight
paid
Week. We got
promotional
violence.
That
to
is
talk
not a
about.
paid
No,
promotional plug.
not at all. It's
He just happens to like it.
It's delicious, and yeah, they got them at Coops, so a lot of good food at Coops too. But we're not here to talk about food and drink.
We were here this weekend hanging out, having food and drink for UFC 311. You watched that before we get into this week.
I did actually. Yeah, I did watch it. I have the new puppy, so it was cool. We're just he likes the UFC, so that's good. That's a good news. He's into the fights.
Yeah.
He chills, and
Big
it
fights.
was it was a good time. It was a bunch of good fights. Marab was making that comeback midway, really changing the tide of the fight, and that pace was insane. He's a savage to watch at bantamweight with some real upwards momentum, and the Yuri fight was awesome. He's calling for that Pajeda fight for a third time, and Islam.
They announced that Uncle Io's getting that fight.
Oh, he's already got that fight, but Yuri's next in line makes sense, even though he's
already lost twice.
Yeah, but still, that last fight against Jamal Hill, fuck it, we'll see it a third time. If he dies, he dies. Let's give him a third shot.
Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of fence, shout out to John Simmons, ABS fence.
ABS fence.
Who will be on the new cage mat for this upcoming 2025 season. We got a couple posts going out with the new cage mat. I did get confirmation that it shipped out from California today. We'll be here Thursday, so
might have to fence up my yard soon. So the new pup, so I might be chatting next show.
There we go. I know Big Mikey's already got him on lock. Great UFC fight. Those who came down for the UFC watch party here at Coops. Some great people, great fans. It was amazing. It was packed all the way up to the end of the night for the last fight. And shout out, I forget the kid's name. I think his name is Evan. He his first time at Coops. He's actually originally from Plymouth. He came up to watch the fights. He went 5-0 on all his picks, and he won the 2 free tickets to Cage Titans. Sold out Cage Titans 69 this upcoming Saturday.
Nice.
Good time to plug. Obviously, the show is sold out, but that doesn't mean you miss any of the action. You can go on over to spectationsports.com and purchase the stream. Don't fall for any scam links.
Please
don't click in the comments. None of that stuff. Spectationsports.com or CageTitansFC.com are the only places that you can watch Cage Titans 69.
We're gonna have to make like a short clip of that very statement.
Yeah,
and
I say the same statement all the time.
Yeah.
As well as all the fighters have their own promo codes. So if you use the promo code with your fighter's last name, they're going to be sharing that out as well. But they get a percentage of all the stream buys as well using their code. So we love to get back to the fighters for everything they do. Obviously, I always push, go get your tickets from them because they get a percentage. Another opportunity to get them some more additional revenue by using their promo code. So Spectation Sports is the only way. And if you still want to come down to Plymouth instead of sitting on your couch watching at home, if you don't have a ticket, to be inside the building, which if you didn't get a ticket, what the hell's wrong with you?
Your fault.
Anyways, if you don't want to be just sitting at home by yourself watching the fights, you can still come down to Plymouth for all that exciting action and be a part of the Plymouth festivities. Main Street Sports, Proof 22, Tavern on the Wharf will be doing watch parties. So they'll have the fights on at those specific bars. Because if you want to just go check out your buddy's fight, and then after the fights, the after parties at Tavern on the Wharf. So if you still kind of want to get the vibe and the feel of downtown Plymouth.
There's no UFC on either, so what else are you going to watch?
What's going on?
Football?
Evans. Actually, is there football this week?
Probably,
no,
Saturday. Playoffs.
Shout out to Evan Williams. He'll be up in his mezzanine box. You might as well just name it your name. You get it every damn show since we've been doing it. This weekend, man, it's insane. We got 17 fights. We got some good ones that we've kind of hammered and talked about. I'm actually going to throw this. So we've talked about this show being kind of an open format tonight. We're going to talk about the fights, but we're looking for fans and or fighters who are on the cards, teammates. We want people to call in and interact. We want you to talk about what fight you're looking forward to the most. If it's a teammate, why we should be looking out for his fight. If you're one of the fighters, call in and talk about your specific fight. So I threw that in there. All you do is copy and paste that into your browser on your phone. It'll pull your camera up. I'll get a little notification that you're there, and we'll pull you in and start talking about fights. The Williams box. The Williams box is back in action. Carter Whitty, Newport Mike is about to blow the roof off the hall on Saturday. Newport Mike Salazar.
He is back.
Yeah, he is back.
Got a few Muay Thai fights coming up.
Yeah, and he's taking on, or is he taking on Ryan Texera, right?
Correct.
Ryan Texera, actually Glover Texera's nephew.
Oh, wow.
So, former UFC champion. What's going on? Pico. How you doing, man? The Pico crew will be out there. Pico, shoot me a text after the show. Talk about your tickets. But yeah, so
They got a
big
couple
event.
Muay Thai fights.
Yeah.
Shara does.
So I mean, I guess it's perfect timing. We might as well just go right over the card.
Might as
First,
well.
first fight of the night. Again, this is in today's order. I will say.
Yeah,
This is today's order.
Subject to
It
change.
may change, or it may stay the same. How you like that? My goal is that this will be fight night order, barring any big changes or ruffles into the card. But our first fight, we got 3 Muay Thai fights this card. We're gonna go right out the rip. First 3 fights of the night will be Muay Thai fights. First up, Will Latour out of Red Seal Martial Arts, Sean Schubert's school. He was making his amateur debut, taking on Rafael Fajea out of Texera MMA. I believe so. Rafael Fajea is actually also a debut. He was scheduled to compete in an MMA fight. His fight fell through, so he still wanted to lace him up. And Will Latour's opponent fell through, so it just kind of
It worked
match
out.
made in heaven ended up working out. So here we
Worked
have it.
out. So they're both coming from lineages of savages. So it's going to be a fun way to kick off the show.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just actually looking up Rafael. I think he actually might have had one Muay Thai fight. I said his debut, but actually, nope. It is his debut. He's competed once as an MMA fighter, but his debut in the Muay Thai world. Yeah, maybe if Glover comes there. I think Alex Fajea's sister is competing in Karate Combat on Friday in Miami, so I believe Glover. Again, it's kind of weird to like ask. I don't really like, hey, fighters, are you going to bring your famous training partners? It's just kind of corny to ask.
No,
But so I didn't ask, but I'm going to guess that Alex and Glover will be down cornering Alex's sister in Karate Combat. So if he is there, though, I'll gladly ask him if he wants to shoot the T-shirt cannon for you, Evan.
that
So there you go.
would be pretty cool.
Pretty cool. So yeah, that's our first match of the night. Will Latour.
Oh, snap. What's going on? Match number 2 here.
Match number 2. Like this, man, it's always crazy trying to match up fight cards over the holidays. And this fight card is no exception. I think we had 10 pullouts. So like I mentioned for the last Muay Thai fight, Will Latour was originally scheduled to fight Timmy Walsh in a Muay Thai bout. Timmy Walsh pulled out. Rafael Fajea was supposed to have an MMA bout against Ryan Genus. Genus pulled out. So they ended up getting matched together, and that's the Muay Thai bout. Very similar in the second fight. Derek Reed from Marandola Martial Arts is scheduled to make his debut in the Muay Thai world. He was scheduled to take on Ryan Maniscalco. Maniscalco broke his hand, had to pull out. So now Derek Reed will be taking on Xavier Cardona out of Lakeville MMA. Xavier was scheduled to be taking on, who was his original opponent? Shit.
I don't even think I know it.
His original opponent. I forget who his original opponent is. And either way, his original opponent had to pull out, and he was scheduled for MMA bout. So he's like, listen, I just want to get in there and punch somebody. If you know Xavier, he just loves to fight. So
I kind of like this a lot.
we
He's
ended up
gonna
putting Xavier together with Derek. So we were able to save a fight there. So yeah, there we go. We have Xavier Cardona making the walk in the Muay Thai
who does
world,
love to scrap. So
He
it's going to be
does.
an interesting showcase right here when he's negating the ground game and just going to throw hands. It's going to be a war. Derek Reed making that debut, Marandola Martial Arts, putting a slew of young bucks out there over the past year. So stoked. Actually, the past 4 years in the blink of an eye. My goodness, it's 2025.
Yeah.
They've been showcasing since 21 at least. My God.
So a lot of.
Are we getting that old that quick?
I've always been getting old.
Yeah,
so.
damn.
So Xavier Cardona switched over to Muay Thai. So there you go. This next Muay Thai fight was actually the original fight that was made. Mike Salazar, Newport Mike, who we were just talking about out of Regiment Training Center, take it 2-1, taking on Ryan Texera out of Texera MMA. And this is Ryan's debut. I believe he's 2-1 as an amateur MMA fighter, but they wanted to get him some more striking experience. So he is making his Muay Thai debut for us, taking on Mike Salazar. So there we go. Tara, Tex area.
Teixeira.
Yes, Teixeira. Have a good event. What's up, Tom? How you doing down in Brazil? And we'll see you March 22nd.
Oh,
Santos be back.
Tom Santos.
Maybe I'll get some fights that I can announce in the cage this upcoming weekend. So there's our first 3 fights of the night. All Muay Thai boats. Will Latour taking out of Red Seal, taking on Rafael Ferreira out of Teixeira MMA. Then our second one, Derek Reed out of Marandola, making his debut against Xavier Cardona out of Lakeville MMA. And our third Muay Thai fight, third bout of the night, Mike Salazar out of Regiment Training, taking on Ryan Teixeira out of Teixeira MMA.
Always excited to see Mike Salazar back. Newport Mike brings the heat. So, and Teixeira MMA making their debut. They're bringing an entourage.
And they got 3 fighters on this card. They got a pro later on in the night. So then next up, we got our first fight of the night in regards to the mixed martial arts,
This is a
MMA. Banger of fight. You know, putting this card together, I was just like, usually I'd slide this fight probably be slid down a little bit later in the night, but I wanted to come hard. You know, we're going 3 Muay Thai fights. Let's come right out the rip. You know, this should be about 7 o'clock, the hall. Everybody's in the hall by now. So, 45 bout. Colin Houghton out of Mohawk Martial Arts taking on Drew Arpin out of Lozon MMA/freestyle striking, Pete Luciani school. Both guys looking for their first victory. Drew was in an absolute war in his debut when he took on Santi Munez. Colin had a tough debut. He took on Ruben Batar, who was a stud. So both these guys just took on absolute studs in their debuts.
And they were great fights.
Great fights.
So they're both going to be hungry, looking for that first win. They both had the taste. They both had their moments. So expect fireworks in the first MMA fight of Cage Titans 69.
Both bring a crowd too. So Drew and Colin tell your crew to get there early, so that they can get in. But yeah, man, we got a banger starting off the MMA fights. Then our second MMA fight / our 5th fight of the night is in the 125 division. We got 2 debuts. Jack Barry out of Ascension Athletics, Jeff Emile Haddad School, taking on Evan Hughes out of New England Submission Fighting. This is Kerrick Janess's school out in Western Mass. We saw Igor Zaltzman fight from them. And then last show, his friend, another teammate fought Henry Howe when he took on Matt Martinez, which was an insane, fight week shuffle. But Jack Barry out of Ascension Athletics taking on Evan Hughes out of New England Submission.
And New England Submission's producing savages. They're taking tough fights out the rip. And Jack Barry making that debut, they're only producing savages down in Connecticut at Ascension. There's just been nothing but top-notch talent coming out of there. When they do show up, they show up with bad intentions.
And they're doing they hosted a couple weeks back an all school, all fighter type of open workout, team practice. So they're getting a ton of work down there. And then as for Evan at New England Submission, they had Igor Zaltzman fight a few shows ago. They had Henry Howe fight last card. Evan was trying to get on the last card, so he's been trying to get on the last 2 cards. So he's been working hard to get back, to get into the cage. So both these guys are going to be rip roaring, ready to go, hungry to put on a nice show. So, great fight. And that is fight 5 of the night. Next up, a name you've probably heard around. She's trained at a bunch of different gyms. Tara Wamsley is making her long-awaited amateur debut out of Regiment Training Center. She will be taking on Ariana Bucaccio out of US MMA. Ariana in the US MMA team, obviously Hillary Rose is fighting as a pro later on the night. They have Ashley Barrett, former amateur champion and pro fighter now. So they produce some killer girls over at US MMA. Ariana's the next in line to debut, come out of that school. And then you got Tara Wamsley. She's trained at a bunch of different gyms. She was a longtime trainer for the kids program over at Lozon's. Now she's joining it over at Regimen. She's been around the gym for a long time. And, finally getting to get in there and showcase what she's learned.
And she's been a fan of the sport for a long time, and she's been talking about making this debut and motivated to do so. The time is now. Ariana Bucaccio made the debut a while back. She's got her feet wet. She knows what to expect. She's been training a long time as well, and they're both spitfires in the pocket. So we're going to see the ladies throw down our first female fight of the night, and we've got a few.
We got 3 female fights. I told that to my daughter. I'm going to have to take my daughter to this fight because, we got 3 female fights.
Yeah, it's been a while since Ellie's been to the fights.
Girls rule, man. Well, Ellie was funny because later on we'll talk about it, but She came with me to meet up with Alyssa Totora when we dropped off her tickets.
Oh, yeah?
She's like, Dad, that girl's a fighter. I was like, yeah, she's a fighter.
Mhm.
She's like, I want to see her. I was like, all right, we'll see. But yeah, so Tara Wamsley taking on Ariana Bucciaccio in our 6th fight of the night. Next up, this fight I know you were excited about. Johnny Gomes out of Marandola Martial Arts, undefeated, taking on Matt Pikachu Martinez out of Sidyatong. You know, 2 great fighters. You know, a little bit more experience on the Martinez side, but talking about impressive. Johnny Gomes making his debut, got that slick submission of the year candidate. Yeah, man, they're ready to square off in the flyweight division.
Gomes proved to be a scrappy young fella in there, and was tough, durable, and ruthless in his attack. Martinez, a tactician, likes to move, a lot of movement. You're going to see a clash of styles here.
Was scheduled to be taking on.
You're
gonna mute my thing. I'm gonna make sure it was working. I know what. I'm rehearing out.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's me. All right, cool. All right. What was I saying? It's gonna be a clash of styles right here. We got a bull and matador matchup, but anything can happen in these flyweights. They move fast. Don't blink.
Man, it's definitely an interesting matchup that I'm excited for. Now we're getting some nice experienced matchups here in the amateur division. We got our next female fight of the night, 8th fight of the night. Yes, Eder Gomes is on the fight card. He's coming up. That's a shout out to Evan Williams. Actually, it's a great opportunity before I get into the 8th fight of the night and mention what it is. You can always go over to CageTitansFC.com. The full fight card is on the website, so you can go check out the entire fight card at CageTitansFC.com. So our 8th fight of the night, Melissa Santos out of Jake Pilla's Guerrilla School will be taking on Alyssa Tortora, undefeated out of Lozon MMA. Great female fight right here. You know, a lot to offer from both these girls. We're going to see them squaring off.
And they've both performed recently. They've both been active and both making a run for that strawweight strap, and both have the capabilities, but they're in each other's way. So the ladies like to throw down. Melissa is a long time practitioner of martial arts. Tortora exploded onto the scene. She was dying to make that debut. Now she's in the mix. We're going to see how they clash together.
Yeah, I know. I think Melissa Santos won by devastating knockout in her amateur debut. As for Tortora, she's a wizard on the ground, and you know she really demonstrated that with some of the nice throws and the way she was able to stabilize the ground and pound. Probably a clash of styles. I'm gonna assume, you know, between a striker and Santos and a grappler and Tortora. But the word from both their coaches is don't pigeonhole us into that. We got some ground game, and Alyssa's got some striking. So
no doubt.
We can see a very well-rounded. And the great thing about the good and the bad thing, there's not a ton of female fighters, which is the bad thing. But the good thing is like you end up seeing marquee matches like this because there's really there's no filler in the female division because there's not a lot of females. So like you've seen both these girls fight. Usually they probably wouldn't fight till, you know, 3 more fights down the line a little bit later in their career.
Get them in there.
With the females, there's just not a lot of matchups to offer. So like you end up fighting pretty early in your career against people. So yeah. And then what I like about this is also at 115. So you got the Melissa Santos and Alyssa Tortora fight. And then you also have the Ariana Bucciaccio and Tara Wamsley fight. So you kind of have like a little, you know, 4-competitor tournament, unofficial, obviously. And, you know, but yeah, a little fun little thing, you know, kind of interesting matchups that could happen off of this.
Okay.
So, pretty excited about that. Next up, this is going to be a banger for sure. It's a 175-pound catchweight fight. We have out of Regiment Training Center, Jordan Tavares, 2-1, taking on 2-2 Gavin O'Connell for Connors MMA. Jordan is making his Cage Titans debut, but he's been ripping it up down in Connecticut, traveling to Connecticut to get his fights because it's been very tough to get him fights, knocking guys out. As for Gavin, you know, his last 2 fights ago in his last fight for Cage Titans, he came up short against Steve Hill, but then he's gone on. He went up to New Hampshire, rebounded, got a nice stoppage fight there. Victory, and he's back. And yeah, this fight, I had to slide this later in the card because a lot of experience between both guys, and they're going to bring it.
Yeah, and
what's up, Melissa? Melissa's excited to get in there. We're excited to have you in there.
Both of them rocking some momentum as well, so we'll see how they match up, and we'll see how Tavares welcomes himself to Cage Titans, and Gavin O'Connell looking for that first Plymouth win.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, big fight there. So our 10th fight of the night, another one coming out of Ascension Athletics, Brandon Walker out of Ascension, taking on Jake Callender out of Sid Yotong. Both these guys had their original opponents fall out. We're able to rematch these two together to keep both of their fight camps having a cause. So they got to fight each other. Brandon Walker out of Ascension. We've already talked about Jeff Haddad School. Obviously, Sid Yotong, long history there. Jake Callender undefeated coming out of that fight. Just this fight is our second to last fight on the undercard.
Yeah, for good reason. There's a lot of experience between the both of them, coming from studded camps. Callender, submission specialist, who's been in there undefeated at Cage Titans. Unfortunately, had his fight fall through last time, and good thing that this was able to fix
Like
up
it was
instead
gonna fall
of
again.
that. Would have been extremely unfortunate. And he's undefeated. Walker 1-3, but coming from Ascension, they say no to nobody. They don't give a shit. Undefeated prospect, quick notice, change up of opponent. Yeah, we're in. So that's just a testament to how much faith they have in him and how confident Brandon Walker is with his experience and thinking that he's going to be able to crack that goose egg, and rightfully so, the second to last amateur fight, because this is a stylistic matchup that fans are going to be delightedly treated to.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked about it. Sometimes when you have fights that kind of fall out, you're not as excited for the match that you end up making. I'm equally as excited for this fight. Originally, Jake Callender was scheduled to take on Carter Whitty. Carter Whitty had to pull out. Originally, Brandon Walker was scheduled to take on. He was taking on Ryan Kennedy, who unfortunately had to pull out. And then I remembered who Xavier Cardona was originally supposed to fight. Xavier Cardona was originally going to fight Zach Converse.
That's right. Yes.
So-
Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of moving parts, as I mentioned.
Well, most people
But-
don't even know the moving parts
Yeah,
that go
so-
on. But yeah, this
but
is
we-
a good example where we can actually
Yeah,
explain
well,
a few.
Yeah, so we were actually able to kind of collect these back. So our 10th fight of the night, Brandon Walker out of Ascension taking on Jake Callender, which leads to our last undercard fight. The 11th amateur fight of the night is Tristan Wood, 2-1, also out of Gorilla Crew. We talked about Melissa Santos earlier. This is a teammate of hers, Tristan Wood out of Jake Pillar's Gorilla Crew, taking on undefeated Eder Gomes out of Mohawk Martial Arts. Yeah, man. I mean, you got this guy, Tristan, coming to Cage Titans, had a lot of experience under his belt, coming from the camp of Jake Pillar and those guys. He brings it. As for Eder, somebody already asked about Eder. Is he fighting on the card? Eder has quickly made a name for himself, undefeated 2-0. I believe both finishes. He's a guy that you got to keep your eye on, and Tristan could come in and steal all that hype. Right
Yeah, there's a stone cold kid. He's got really fast hands, good placement of them, and Tristan Wood looking to crack that goose egg. You know that Jake Pillar is bringing the house when his pupils come down. So excited to see how he's welcomed to Cage Titans to take on the young prospect in Eder Gomes and rightfully show the feature undercard bout.
Yeah, definitely. When I looked at it, and some people might remember. Obviously, got to mention it. Eder wasn't able to make weight in his last fight back in November, so that fight was scratched.
Hopefully, he's got that under control.
He's got that under control. Like his team assured us, they actually got a hotel down in Plymouth, so they're close. His coach is really going to kind of hone in on the weight cut, and he's really monitored. So I think we're going to see the best of Eder, and we're going to see the best of Tristan, because Tristan's first trip down to Cage Titans. Cage Titans hits a little differently, and I'm sure he's going to rise to the occasion. So excited for that one. Let's see what we got from Aaron Hughes. I sparred with Eder, very impressed with his skill level, considering how long he's been training. These new guys are so good. It's absolutely true, man. Like, new guys today compared to new guys, 10, 15 years ago, even, 5 years ago, really picking the sport up. And Eder's a young kid too, 19 years old. Cage Titans, we hit different. And we do hit different, a little bit different. Anyway, so there's the undercard, 11 fights in total, 3 Muay Thai, 8 MMA. It's definitely stacked. And it's like, man, we got 11 fights and we're just getting started. We haven't even got to the 2 title fights and the additional pro fights on the main card. Great opportunity, just guys, let you know, like, this is just helping everybody out, especially, we have some first timers with Cage Titans. This is going to be an insane, even Cage Titans 66 with Barrett versus Giannetti didn't sell out as quickly as this fight card. This fight card,
Really?
yeah, like this card's that you haven't been able to buy tickets even last week. Like I remember Barrett and Giannetti, they sold out like week of. This has been sold out since last week, so you couldn't even get tickets last week. You know, with that being said, it's going to be an insane crowd. So like, know where your fighter is fighting, and
Get there accordingly.
get there accordingly. And you know, I ask, and again, listen, if you buy a ticket for the whole night, I'd never tell you not to come early. You know, come early and enjoy the whole night. But as you know, with local MMA, a lot of guys come just to watch their friends or kind of catch a certain few fights. So if you know, you're there to see Don Shainis and he's not fighting until, the last fight of the night. If you don't mind, maybe come a little later, so that the initial rush and those people that are truly there to see the first couple of amateur fights can get in and make sure they see their friend, see their friend fight. And if you're worried because it's sold out and you're like, oh, well, Mike, why would I do that? I'm getting there early. I want to get my seat. As you know, once some of those amateur fights happen, a lot of them, their friends and family leave. So you don't have to worry about seats. Like, I say this, it definitely works. So take that as you will. I just, it's just something I want to pass along, if you can, know where you guys fighting.
An unwritten rule of courtesy at Cage Titans with the sold out show 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Again, if you come, I'm not, obviously you're,
of course, you're
all
welcome.
entitled. But, I would say if you're coming to watch Don Shainis, I'll tell you right now, if you've been to a Cage Titans, he's not fighting till 11:30. Like, to get there at 5 o'clock when doors open,
You're
also
hammered.
understand that, we're limited to the amount of people we can push through the front doors at a certain time. Like, and if you've been to a show, the line's down the street. Like, when doors open, you could be in line for 45 minutes to an hour. Understand that. Again, I'm not trying to persuade anybody to do whatever you don't want to do. But if Don Shainis ain't fighting until after intermission and you get there at 5 o'clock to stand in line for an hour and a half, like, I would just wait till 6:30 and come at 6:30, 7 o'clock. You're not going to miss your buddy's fight if he's fighting after intermission. So some of those pros, a lot of people bought tickets for the pros, the Shainis and Pags, Jones and Congdon. Like, they're not fighting. So why show up at 5 to sit in a line until 6:30 in the freezing cold? Do yourself a favor. Come at 7 once the line's dissipated, and
Head over to Main Street. Grab a beer.
A lot of people will go to Second Wind for the pregame party, and the Second Wind will have the fights on. So they'll watch like one of the prelims there, watch a fight or two, and then walk over to the hall. Again, it's just a suggestion. I do know that Big Mikey mentioned buy a hall pass. Evan Williams said the same thing. Evan can probably attest to it. Like, it's to get, you've seen the lines. Like, the reason the hall pass was developed was to skip the line, but it's only 100. Like, we only sell 100 of them. It's not like the whole place gets it, because it would take away the specialness of it. But then it also doesn't solve the fact, cool, you can get in an hour early, but if you get there at 4 because you bought a hall pass and your guy's not fighting until 11 o'clock at night, it's a long fucking night to be sitting in the venue. So yeah, it's just something for our new fans that may, just some insider info to kind of help navigate. Because I've had people, they'll DM us, what time should I get there? It's like, well, what time's your guy that you want to see fighting? That's my first question to you. It's what time you should get there. You want to get there at 2 and a half. Like, the Valdinas would come they were always the first fucking people online.
The originators.
They would come there, and 1 or 2 people would stand at the front door, starting at like 2, 3 o'clock, and then the rest would go out to lunch, and they would just park there. It was wild. So again, I can't really answer the time. What time you should get there? You only want to stand outside in line from when the doors open for 10, 15 minutes. You'd have to get there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to be first in line. But then you're waiting from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock till doors open.
It could be fucking cold too.
It'd be damn ass cold. So do yourself a favor. Don't DM me, don't message asking what time you should get there, because my response is going to be, what time is the fight that you want to see happening? And then gauge it off of that. If you're there to see Jack Congdon and he's, fight 15 of the night, there's no need for you to get there at 5 o'clock when doors open. There's no need to get there at 6 o'clock. I'd come at 7, 7:30.
I'm not telling you what to do at all.
Not telling you what to do. Or do what Tyler Pimentel just said. Show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll all be there setting up the cage.
Yeah.
And
There's your hall pass.
There's your hall pass. Come lift a couple pillars up, and then we'll just
Free labor, hall pass.
Yeah.
That's it.
then we'll let you pick your seat. That's why a lot of guys are like, a couple people will do that. They're like, if I come set up, can I just put my name on a chair? And I'm like, sure. If you come at 8 o'clock to set up with us,
This
you get
at
you get a
8
reserved
o'clock
seat.
in the trailer, transporting all the chunks and pieces of the kit. Yeah, you're good. We got your back. Thanks for having us.
Hall pass, or as Tyler calls it, the hell pass, putting up the cage.
Yeah, the hell pass. You can get the hell pass.
There we go. So, anyways, that's my long-winded thing. The best bet on a night or a freezing cold January night when you're wondering what time to get there, look when your fighter's fighting and gauge it off that. People come and go all night. If realistically, if like I want the front row in the mezzanine, it's like getting there at 5 o'clock might not, like the same person who comes in at 8 o'clock might get that front row, because the person who came at 5 o'clock and got that front row was only there for the fourth fight of the night, which is, Colin Houghton. And then after Colin Houghton's fight, he leaves, and now those two seats are there, and you can just walk in at 8 o'clock and get them. So it's very fluid with the way it is. So again,
We make it work.
I'm sorry for the long-windedness, but I've been getting a lot of questions about this.
You can just for Cage Titan 70 get the tickets off your fighter earlier.
I mean, again, it doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't
It doesn't solve the problem
Well,
standing in the line, or
There's always going to be a line, all right? It ain't a roller coaster. At least you're there for a few hours, okay? You're going to be all right. You'll enjoy yourself. And then, woo, done. Fuck, 2 hours burned.
I just say, because digesting 6 hours of fight is a lot for people. So like, again, there's a lot of people that have been recently coming to Cage Titans as first timers, and it's just like,
If you've never
what to expect, like, most people are like, I got to get there right when the doors open.
I never get
like,
sick of violence. I don't know what I'm twisted in the head. It never gets
oh,
old
yeah,
for me,
that's-
but
yeah.
but
It's
some
like
people, yeah, it's
Disneyland.
a lot of
I
time.
get there when the curtain drops so you can run to the fucking line. Like, no, man, I'll just get there when I get there.
I'll be there in August.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
All
As
right,
you can
main
tell,
card
this
time.
is a sore subject because my fucking phone has been going nuts about
Main card.
about timing and seats. and all
Our
that
first professional fight of the night,
Trevor Goody taking
making
on-
the comeback, the Scarecrow, and he's going to be taking on Teixeira MMA's Kenyon Moore, who's thrown his name in the hat plenty of times.
This fight was scheduled for November.
Thought so, yep.
Kenyon got staph on his
Oof.
elbow, really bad. I believe he actually had. Sorry, this was supposed to be in September, the September card, and the staph was so bad he had to have surgery, so he wasn't even available to reschedule it for the November. We had to reschedule it for 2 shows down the line. But Kenyon Moore is taking on Trevor Goody. Trevor had an outstanding amateur career, 7-1 amateur champion, and he's just
Undefeated amateur. Actually.
No, he lost one somewhere else. I
Really?
thought. You sure?
Undefeated
I
amateur.
was looking him up the other day, and he.
He lost his pro debut, but he never lost as an amateur.
Oh, maybe they had it. Maybe they had it wrong. Let's see.
I know my shit.
Oh yeah, 6. You know what it was? The MMA registry has him as a loss. Because I remember I had to just submit the card to the athletic commission, and I was like, oh, he must. I didn't even. I looked quick, and yeah. Oh, they have him as 7-1, but they marked one of his amateur. He had an amateur kickboxing fight that they. marked
That's
as an
right.
MMA
Gotcha.
fight. I knew I saw 7-1 amateur, and I was like, yeah, but now, anyways, yeah. So Trevor, he had a great amateur career, and he's just, he's kind of 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1 as a pro. We'll see what happens here. He's on a little bit of a slide. He lost his last fight outside of Cage Titans only a month ago. He was knocked out, but he was, he cleared all concussion protocols and all that stuff, and got cleared by the neurologist that he was fine to go. And here he is. He's just like, it was a flash KO. He didn't really agree with it, and he really wanted to get back on the horse and try to right this ship. So you got Trevor Goody taking on Kenyon Moore, and as for Kenyon, I'm very intrigued to see what Teixeira MMA brings. Again, it's our first experience with this team, and you have the likes of Glover and the likes of Alex Beher in your gym. It's like, I wonder what the vibe's like down there as being a part of that team right now. Is like, you had the light heavyweight champion of the world in Glover, and then now you have the light heavyweight champion Alex. Like, the vibes must be crazy down there, and I'm sure Kenyon's feeding off that and really looking to make his own name.
Yeah, especially with a couple of amateurs fighting before him. The team's going to have a vibe around them making their Cage Titans debut. And to be fighting someone with that much more experience than Trevor Goody, who is an absolute gamer, especially making the quick turnaround from his latest fight. The skid that he's on, he's determined to make that bounce back. And against Kenyon Moore, coming from a camp that he's coming from, it would be a huge win for both guys, and a great way to kick off the main card between two seasoned veterans of the game.
Absolutely. Excited for that one. Our next fight, a lot of people are excited for. Ozzy Martin is making that jump into the pro field. Ozzy Martin, unbelievable amateur career, fight of the year, winner for his fight against Brody McDougal, fighter of the year last year, fight of the year last year. So back-to-back amateur fighter of the year. So Ozzy Martin's making that long-awaited pro debut after amazing 2024. He's taking on Ron Marshall out of Anubis MMA. Ron Marshall, he knows what he's getting himself in for. He's the guy that is never afraid to fight anybody. He has a win over Fabio Sharon, who's a UFC fighter when they were amateurs. And he kind of came on the show and he was talking about, like, his daughter wanted to see him fight. He's really making a run at this and really wants to put on a good performance for his family and for his daughter. And, back in the day, he wasn't fighting for all the right reasons. And he's finally kind of like doing it the right way and training the right way. And his body, he was fighting at heavyweight.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say, is like, Ozzy has all the momentum behind him, crazy amateur career, all of the chops. He's been battle tested. And for him to make the jump up to the pro ranks and take on Ron Marshall, who's jumping down many weight classes from what I'm used to seeing him at. He looks in great shape. As you said, his temperament is different to his approach as his why to fighting. And he's a powerful dude who is durable as they make him. And with the shape that he's in, with all the weight division drop, I'm sure he's going to be ready to go the full distance against the young debutant and looking to spoil the parade right there. So definitely not someone to overlook. It's Ron Marshall. He's a dense, heavy-hitting dude who's been in there with the best of the best and has all the experience coming behind him. And Ozzy is hungry, determined to make the same splash at the pro ranks that he did as an amateur. Super exciting fight.
Yeah, for me, we talk about Ron, how he's, rededicating himself and, really wants to put on a great performance for his daughter, who was motivation. Ron, he never even sold tickets before. He would just show up and fight whoever the badass you wanted to fight. He's sold a good amount of tickets. He's got family and friends coming out. Like, this is really like his why and looking to really come out and put on a great performance. But he didn't lose out on that typical Ron, like, I don't care who the name is. I don't care, Ozzy Martin or whoever it is. Like, I'm fighting whoever. I'll fight the baddest dudes you got. So he does still have that mentality. As for Ozzy, I talked about it with a couple people the other day. Like, he has such a tremendous support system, living the life of a fighter. He's got the great family supporting him. He's making that trek down to Nostos, putting in that drive time, that far ride every day to get that work in. He's extremely motivated, and he's got the right support system. And, I think this is a great debut for him. Not many guys would probably want to take a debut like against Ron Marshall, especially, Ron was a bigger guy. Like this kid, is coming down from heavyweight. So, sometimes you see guys going pros and they want to take some layups. Ozzy knew, he had to take a little tougher than normal debut, and he's got it. And we'll see how he rises to the challenge.
Love it.
So there you go.
Our next
Ozzy Martin taking on Ron Marshall. Tune in for that. Our 13th fight of the night, our second pro fight of the night. Next up, our 14th fight, our third pro fight. Natalie Schlesinger is back on a Driven Gym. We saw her as an amateur in victory over Ashley Barrett. And here she is taking on Ashley Barrett's teammate in Hillary Rose. Hillary Rose out of USMMA. You know, kind of like Natalie got the win over the little sister as an amateur, and here comes big sis Hillary trying to get a little redemption. This is at a new weight class for Hillary and Natalie, actually. Both at atom weight, 105 pounds.
And this is a first time for Cage Titans, an atom weight fight. If my memory serves correct, and I find it hard to believe that you had an atom weight fight before I came along.
I don't think so.
And I don't even remember one. So, yeah, Natalie Schlesinger made a huge splash many years ago, many moons ago.
2021.
Yep. I think it was
The last card
The
before COVID.
no pre-COVID. 21 was after COVID.
Oh, 2020 maybe?
Yeah, it might have been January 2020. So that's probably what it was,
But yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. January
Cage Titans
2020,
47.
47, January
25th,
2020. Yep.
I knew
So
it was
hey,
right
the
before COVID.
25th, and we're fighting on the 25th again. So
Exactly 5 years. to the day.
exactly 5 years to the day since Natalie Schlesinger has made the walk to Plymouth. And like you said, 5 years ago, 5 pro fights later, and she's taken on big sister, if you will, looking to capsize into the win. Hillary Rose coming off of a monumental year performance-wise. She's been in the analyst booth a bunch, and she's really riding the momentum right now. She's hitting a stride in her career. A tactician, the fight IQ through the roof, and Schlesinger taking a big step up against a girl with a lot more experience, and both of them could truly be capsized with the big victory on the 25th this weekend. Keep an eye out, especially at the new division at 105 pounds. Both of them in tremendous shape.
Dude,
And
honestly, like, you know, I'm interested to see how Hillary shows up at 105. I'll tell you right now,
doesn't cut weight.
Natalie posts a picture, dude. Like, she is ripped at 105, looking great. Both girls are going to be in top pristine shape. It's going to be an amazing fight. You know, Natalie is relocated out to California, so she's flying in from LA. New team out there. Yeah, man. So this is just, it's going to be. It
she
should
was
be an
in New
amazing
Jersey
fight.
before, if I'm not mistaken.
New Jersey, now,
Yeah.
New Jersey now moved out to LA, and she's coming ready to go, man. And as for Hillary, we all know Hillary, what she's capable of. She's been training for so long. You know, it's always like she's always kind of flip-flopped a loss with a win, and kind of couldn't really find the momentum. And mentally, she just kind of really clicked in 2024, you know, getting that victory, the rematch victory against Gabrielle Golfin, then having that just shutdown performance with the leg kick stoppage over Katie Perez. She's firing on all cylinders right now, and let's see what happens in this one.
For sure, the ladies steal the show, and that's the final female fight of the night.
Three female fights.
Yeah, that's we were spoiled.
There we go.
And now our feature bout, which holy shit, when this came to fruition out of nowhere from left field, VIP Ali Zabia making his comeback to Cage Titans, this time at welterweight, taking on Jack Congdon, who was looking to continue his momentum since falling short to gain the title. Whoever wins this one, right next in line for that title shot, indeed, for my money.
Yeah, you know, and it's so interesting because like Ali had a status up, was like, oh man, I can't get fights. What the fuck? Like no one's picking me up, and like I literally messaged him. I'm like, Ali, what's up? He's like, dude, he like that's so funny. You messaged me. He's like, I couldn't be getting fights, and I just was like, why haven't I hit Mike up in there? You are in my inbox. So I was like, yeah. He was like, what are you thinking? 170, 55? And he's like, you know, probably 170 for January. I'll go back down to 55 after that. What are you thinking? I threw Jack's name at it. Ali was just like, absolutely, let's go. I'm in. Like, not even like a hesitation. It was just like, sure, let's go. And, you know, as for Jack, kind of the same thing. Jack's kind of always been from his early pro career. Like, yeah, I don't care who it is. Like, yeah, I'll fight him.
And this is
no
is
padding records. It's just like
crazy of a fight because Jack Congdon is class, but to jump up 15 pounds and take on a recent contender, he's got the experience. He's been at it a long time. Already has a win over Peter Barrett, a UFC veteran. So he's really placating that his experience in this game is going to make up for that size differentiator because Ali don't give a shit. He doesn't care who he's fighting. It doesn't matter.
It's what, like, think about it, like
Ali is what, 5'7",
He's
maybe
5'6".
5'6". He's on the short end for a 55er, and Jack is a towering
6'2".
170 pounder. So huge contrast in the builds there, but make no mistake about it, Ali Zabian's an absolute fucking tank of a human being, and it's going to be a powerhouse of a welterweight scrap.
This fight is wild. It's funny. This is the biggest discrepancy in height, but we have one in the main event too with Tom Baggs, standing 6 feet, taking on Don Sheamus at like 5'5". But yeah, man, huge height difference. But that's in Ali's game. He's throwing those big looping bombs and getting in close and tight and grabbing you. And
it's gonna be a fun one.
Like, man,
I was stoked when this one came up.
I remember when I came in, I dropped it. You were like,
what the fuck did this come from?
Like,
it's like, where did this tree grow from that bestowed the fruit of Zabian versus Congdon?
It really it was really like Ali was like when I hit up Ali, I was like, I don't even know if I have anybody for him. And he was just like, well, what do you got at 170? And I was like, man, I'm Jack Congdon right now. He's like, I'll take it. I'm like, oh, that's
all right.
All right, cool. And then the same thing. I mean, Jack's always the same way. Like,
cool.
I'm in. That's cool. So there we go.
Damn, 2 fights left, the 2 titles on the line. The OG title is being put on the line by Greg Jones, and he's putting it up against Kenny Champion. Both guys coming off professional wins, both over 45 years old, both very much qualified for that OG strap. And I'm glad that it stuck around because I like watching both of them fight and can't wait to see how the old dogs throw down.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I've talked about this,
and I say that with all due respect, old dogs.
Listen, man, when we came up with the OG,
it's in the belt. It's in the name of the belt.
There's we've talked about it before. Is OG old guy? Is OG original gangsta? I remember when I said old guy belt. Greg kind of laughed. He's like, I don't know if I like that. And I'm like, well, it's an old guy belt.
Brother,
like,
you're 51 in a 25-year-old man's
week he
game.
turned 51 or 52. I forget what it was his birthday, but it was his birthday. I think he turned 52 last week or 51, whatever. But it's like, man, it is kind of is what it is. Like you kind of got, you made your debut at 49, like 48, 49 years old. So what do you expect? You're kind of the old guy. We got guys that are fighting, right after their 18th birthday.
John Payne's doing push-ups listening to this right now, trying to jump back in.
I know, he's ready. So we kind of joked, is it the old guy, original gangster? And realistically, Greg, got into the sport as an older guy. But a guy like Kenny Champion, he's an original gangster. Like this kid was fighting 10 years ago.
But he kind of got into it at an older age for MMA too. And people get into this in their 30s. That's kind of old on the spectrum when it comes to getting into the fight game. So they both qualify for both an old guy and original
getting
gangster.
Into it in your 30s and then in the late 40s is kind of a difference.
Quite a contrast, but it don't change the fact that it's still late getting into the game. But it doesn't matter. I've talked to Kenny Champion about that, and he knows and just how the impact that martial arts has had on his life. He's an amateur champion as well. Exactly. So like getting into it late in the game provided him with a lot of opportunities, and he's had a substantial professional career. Now he's coming off a big win. Greg Jones, he's skin and bones, never has lost at MMA. Kind of made it a bucket list goal of his as an amateur career. And then next thing you know, he's going pro and taking steps like this, and this belt comes to fruition, and it still stands. So we'll see who is the OG champion at Cage Titans after this weekend.
I'm excited for
Kenny Champion and Greg Jones throwdown.
Yeah, man. Kenny has been around for a while, and he really has. And it's really going to be an amazing fight. I'm excited for it. And like these aren't your typical old guy part of the OGs. Kenny. Somebody actually messaged me and was like, is Kenny really an OG? And I'm like, yeah, he's 45. They're like, no fucking way. He looks 25. I'm like, yeah, he's 45 years old. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, I've seen his fucking paperwork. Trust me, he's 40. He was born in 79, so he might actually be 40. He might be 40 or might be turning 46 this year. But yeah, man, it's wild. And both guys are in tremendous shape, great shape. They're not their age. They're definitely younger. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun one, and I'm happy like what the OG belt kind of brought. Like it's brought a lot of interest. People have been like, hey, can I get in on that? Can we get different weight classes? We'll see what we do. But yeah, man, it's a good time.
Main event time, baby.
Quick
And then it's
catch
Cage
up. We
Titans
got
69.
Team Regiment representing on the card. Love it. You guys are the best. Thank you, Kayla and Jeff Texera. Thank you for the nice comments. Yes, Team Regiment has, I believe, 3 fighters, right? But
And the
anyway,
main event,
in the main
Tom
event,
Pagliarulo taking on Don Shanis for the featherweight strap. Pagliarulo making his Cage Titans debut, a staple in New England MMA, the long, rangy featherweight. Trying to make that run to the big show, and Don Shane is trying to make that run back to the big show. With the momentum that he's had and the finishes that he's put together, both viable for that belt. Don Shanis and a stocky powerhouse taking on the rangy Pagliarulo in his debut. Shameless Nation going to be showing up in droves, and Tom Pags brings a crowd as well. We've seen the fans lose it over him and other promotions, at least I have. So
I don't know why my thing keeps going on. There we go.
do I really sound like that?
No, it's because my sound is blasted.
Well, there you go. There's the main event.
Main event. Boom. Don Shanis, obviously, if you've been to Memorial Hall, you've been a part of Cage Titans, or you know who he is, unless you've been living under a rock. Like, Mr. Shameless always brings a crowd wherever he goes. Always representing Memorial Hall all the way over to the UFC, and then now he's back trying to make that run back. As for Tom, Tom trains with the New England Cartel. He's main training partners with Font and Cater. They brought him in when he was on the show. He told us how he kind of connected with those guys during COVID, and he's seen where they've been, and he wants to be there. He wants to be next in line out of the cartel to get to the UFC. So he's hungry. It's kind of like, Tom looking up, being like, you've been where I want to be, and I got to take you out. And Shanis is kind of like, I'm still at the top of the mountain around here, and he's looking to prove it. So this fight, a lot on the line in this match.
Yeah, a lot on the line at the crossroads between both of their careers. A lot of stakes in it. A lot of stakes across the whole card. If I'm really throwing it out there, as we've been talking about it, there's just huge stakes in all of these fights, all the pro fights at least.
For different reasons.
Kenny Moore and Trevor Goody trying to get that momentum to get the ball rolling in the win column. Ron Marshall trying to stunt the momentum of Ozzie Martin, and Ozzie Martin trying to hit the stride that he's been on coming into as a pro. So huge stakes for both of those fighters there. The ladies, both of them are in pivotal need for this win right now to propel that trajectory that they're both on to that next level. And the 3 fights that we just discussed between Congdon and Ali, that could be a title. The OG belt, big stakes around here.
Yeah.
They're
cool.
both up there in age, but it don't matter. That's huge stakes. It's a original calamity that we have around here. And then the huge stakes in the main event. Both of these guys at the pinnacle of their career, both at the peak, both extremely exciting based off of their performances, and they're clashing in there. And there's no bad blood between them. They're both professional or approaching it as professionals. They see each other as viable challenges, and they're both people who like to solve problems. And they're both a problem for each other. So that's just an exciting main event waiting to happen. You can tell in their demeanor as they're approaching this, even though there's no bad blood, you can see the fuel that both of them have to solve the puzzle that each of them pose.
And that's the thing. There's no bad blood. And neither one of them shit talkers, but they both know what the other represents. Like, you're in the way of my dreams and goals. And it's just the reality of the situation. It is interesting. They've trained with a lot of similar training partners, and like the New England Shanis was out in Vegas before with the New England Cartel, training out there on a training trip. He's trained with Connor Matthews, who is now training with the New England Cartel.
That's right. A lot of
crossover in these guys and who they've trained with and things. A lot of New England eyes. And what I love about this fight, a lot of New England eyes on it, and a lot of intrigue in New England, similar to the Barrett and Giannetti fight, where it was one of the biggest fights you can have in New England. This is coming on the heels of that one. Cage Titans world might not know necessarily who Tom Pags is.
New England MMA does.
The New England MMA fans, Tommy Pags is a stud. He fights up in New Hampshire and at Calvin Cater's combat zone, and he's just running through guys up there. So he's coming down to play at Cage Titans, and he's taking on a pretty big task. And I can't wait to see, who comes out of this fight with their hand raised and who I get to put that belt around.
Listen to my calls. Any Don Sheena's fight over the years, you can tell I'm a fan of his. And same with Tom Pags. I'm a fan of his work from afar. So looking forward to welcoming him to Cage Titans and calling the action between two studs in the game. And I don't know what the hell I'm allergic to down here, but my eyes are poof and I can barely breathe. And we've gone through all the fights and it's
Shout out
fight week. So we
Bruce.
got to get the hell back upstairs.
Josh Boots. Miguel was going to be on this card. He had to pull out. He will be on the March card. My last question, because it made me think about it, you're going to welcome Tommy Pags. Do you ever, when you know their nicknames, do you practice how you're going to do it? I'm just curious question for
It's not
ring
really,
announcer.
no, I don't really.
Do you ever find yourself in the shower and be like, how am I going to pronounce this? Or
No, I don't.
practicing at all?
It's if I once I get it from them, and once I get all the measurables, when I write it down, I just say it in my head.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And it's pretty much in cadence and bullet points of height, weight, and whatnot. And I barely even read the thing. I kind of just reference it. But no, the nickname, my question is, do you want the nickname before your name or in between your names?
Gotcha.
And that's it. So it's like VIP Ali Zabian or Shameless Don
Maybe it was
Sheamus.
Anabolic Ali. Did you ever get to announce him as Anabolic Ali?
No.
Yeah, his nickname before VIP
It
was,
was
the Anabolic Arab.
Yeah, that was it. That Anabolic Arab.
Fucking
Yeah.
red safe.
Yeah. And then when I jot it down, it kind of like sticks in the memory, but and then when it's in there, it's just I get fired up. That's it. I look at them like I'm gonna fight them.
Let's go, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this weekend. I'm a little tired because I
I'm
got all the licensing that I gotta turn in. I gotta meet with the state tomorrow morning. I was up fucking all night last night compiling it all. And then getting all the graphics ready, getting the broadcast. We had a broadcast meeting earlier today. We had an odds making meeting yesterday. Man, it's
fight week
licensing.
The ball rolls.
I had a licensing meeting with the town of Plymouth earlier today
What?
too. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's fight week. No press conference for this fight card on Thursday. I know you guys enjoy it, but we will be doing the live with Lynch on weigh-in day. So we will have the camera studio set up out back.
press conference. It's sold out.
Yeah, it was nothing to sell you. But either way, what we will be doing is the live with Lynch. That's been getting some great response for the last two weigh-ins. We'll have a studio set up at weigh-ins, and we'll bring each of the pro fighters one by one in for an interview that will be live streamed in real time. Then we'll be going live for the ceremonial weigh-ins on Friday. The weigh-ins are at Plymouth Memorial Hall. It is open to the public. You're more than welcome to join us, cheer on the fighters at the ceremonial weigh-ins, which will be at 1:30.
We are back at the hall. Good.
Yeah, we are at the hall. Quick little housekeeping, not that you fans need to know about it, but fighters, if you do need, I'm going to put it in our fighter group, but I'll tell you now if you're watching. I originally mentioned 11 o'clock for fighter arrival. We're bumping that till 12 o'clock. There was a little conflict at the hall. They have a police event. And since the hall is owned by the town, they do some of their police events there. So in the morning, they have a police event there. So we're going to bump to 12 o'clock. So weigh-in report time will be noon, not 11. Then we'll be going live at 1:30 with the ceremonials. So ceremony is open to the public. Come on by.
All right, that's good to know that
Yep.
weigh-in started an hour late, like
I
daylight
wasn't going to
savings
tell
time.
the staff because then they'd actually show up on time.
Well, now I know, but I'll still be there. Don't worry.
And then as for fight day, I'll put out a fight week schedule. But as for fight day, pregame bash, Second Wind Brewing. Rob Pico will be hosting the pregame bash. 4 o'clock for hall pass entry. 5 o'clock for general doors. 6 o'clock first fight of the night. Immediately after the fights, Tavern on the Wharf for the after party. DJ, food, fun time. It's great to see. The after party is always amazing because there's so much work that goes in for the fighters and the staff to get ready for fight night. So then it's finally like
It's the
after
exhale.
the fight, like
It's the exhale.
And it's cool to see these fighters outside of the cage and get to know them too for fans. So it's a fun
Always a
experience.
blast. Tavern on the Wharf always taking care of us. The whole town of Plymouth always taking care of us.
Yeah.
I got a busy week. You got a bunch of shit to
We
do.
got nothing else for you today. Be on the lookout for all the social media stuff. Make sure you tune in to Spectation Sports. If you don't have a ticket, that's the only way to watch Cage Titans. Don't fall for the scam links.
No, don't fall for the scam links.
Don't hit me up
Spectation
asking
Sports,
for
Cage
tickets.
Titans,
There are no
FC.com.
tickets. And be on the lookout on all social medias. Follow us across all social media, TikTok. Yeah, now that's back. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X.
Instagram's back. I mean,
TikTok's back already.
banning them back.
Banned for 4 hours. That's another story for another day.
Listen, as much as I hate it, you can't ban nothing on free speech, even if the Chinese own it.
Anyways, on that note, I got nothing else for you guys. See
Hey.
you this Saturday night.
Cheers, everybody. We'll see you on the weekend.
Let's hear it for Shameless Don Shadis.
It's Tom Pagliarulo, who will be looking to claim the Cage Titans featherweight strap.
Do know me, know I'm like a fan favorite just because I'm never in a boring fight, man. I'm not gonna just like fight to win. Like I'm always actually gonna bring it. So they're in for a treat.
In there isn't to just fucking get in. I want to make someone quit. I want someone to scream uncle. I want someone to fucking say stop.
I think on the regional scene, I've slowly progressed in the level of fights I'm taking. I've been in wars. I think I'm ready for it.